Hello and welcome back to my garden. Today I'm going to give you a few practical ways or a few practical things you can do to your garden to make sure that you keep off pests organically without using any pesticides or any chemicals. So way number one, make sure you maintain garden hygiene. So make sure that your garden is always clean. Come over here once in a while, pick up all the weeds, make sure they don't grow tall and compete with the plants. Because also some weeds attract some pests. So make sure that your garden is always clean and maintain garden hygiene. The other point is make sure that your garden, you don't share your tools. Don't share your tools with people who are not farming organic like you, or even with organic people who don't take care of their tools. Make sure you clean your tools, you disinfect them every time after pruning or working on the garden to make sure that you don't spread diseases from one plant to another or from one garden to another. Make sure your tools are well cleaned every time you use them in the garden, and then they are well stored in a dry area, including your gloves and all your farm inputs, including your pumps. Do not mix them up with the pumps that you spray your animals with or you put any other thing. So make sure your garden is very, very clean. Now, point number two is make sure that your soil is very healthy. Make sure your soil has manure and it is very well aerated. So what that helps with is that your plants get a good start. Plants, just like human beings and animals, they fight diseases by what they have from within. Healthy plants fight diseases better, and even pests like to attack damaged plants, weak plants, and malnourished plants. So make sure your plants get a good start, and you also keep feeding them well. Make sure your soil is very healthy, and when your plants reach the harvesting season, when they produce the leaves, like this spinach, make sure you feed them weekly, harvest them weekly, and then feed them weekly. That way you give them immunity, you give them strength to fight off, just like yourself. If you are healthy, if you're clean, you fight off diseases better. So then the other point is intercrop your plants with pest repelling plants. So if you're growing spinach, if you're growing brassicas, make sure you put in there some herbs, you put in there some onion family plants to make sure you repel some of those pests and some of those diseases. Things like marigolds, when you interplant them with the tomatoes, they keep away the nematodes, which destroy the roots and the whole produce. Okay, so the other thing you should do to make sure that your plants are healthy is make sure you remove the 3Ds. We've talked about the 3Ds in this channel before. So those are the dead, damaged, and diseased plants. So every time you see a dead leaf, a damaged leaf, because the smell of a damaged leaf attracts some pests. So make sure you remove them from your garden. Anything that has died, just remove it from your garden. I know some people will argue that keep it, it will be the mulch, but I think it's better if you remove it and put it in the compost, and then let it compost in the compost and bring it back when it's manure. For the deceased ones, especially the ones that have diseases that cannot be treated, the viral diseases, do not take them to your compost, because what will happen, that disease does not die, it is going to come back with the manure. So if you have a plant that has been affected by a viral disease, the best way is to burn it. When you remove it from your garden, just burn it. Do not bring it to the compost and then bring it back to your garden. So the other thing you should do to keep pests from your garden is pick them manually. Come over, check under the leaves if there are any. Mine don't have any. Just check under the leaves, and if you see any pest, just remove them. Just remove your pest. If there is any pest, just check when you're watering or when you're tending your garden, just remove them manually. The other thing you should do is encourage predators, encourage natural predators. If you have ladybugs in your garden, that's a win, because the ladybirds, are they ladybirds or ladybugs? I don't know. I'll insert a picture of how they look like. They feed on the aphids, and that way, if you encourage them by not using chemical pesticides, because if you use chemical pesticides, you're going to kill them, then the ladybugs are going to help you control the aphids. So encourage natural predators of pests in your garden. So the other thing you can actually do is to use organic and natural pesticides. I've talked about that a lot. I'll link the videos that I've talked about them. But one of the easy ones on top of my head is spray rabbit urine often in your garden. I usually spray rabbit urine and alternate it with vermicompost, the vermi liquid in my garden. So that acts both as foliar and as a pest repellent on my plants. So when you do that often, like weekly or maybe bi-weekly, you're going to give your plants growth. You're going to promote the growth because it acts both as a foliar and as a repellent. And then when they grow, they'll be stronger and they're going to repel the pests, and they're also going to be immune to the diseases. Finally, what you should do to keep pests and diseases away from your garden is crop rotation. I have done an extensive video about crop rotation. I'm going to link it in the description box, but make sure you don't return the same crop of the same family to the same place. Always rotate your crops. So make sure if you planted a leafy vegetable like this one that I planted in this container, next season I'm going to plant something else. Maybe I'm going to bring here carrots, I'm going to bring here maybe beans or something of another family that is not of the same family. That way, if the disease that attacked this crop last season exists here, it has no chance because probably it doesn't attack the other plant from the other family, and the other plant from the other family doesn't feed from the same nutrients. So I'm not going to exhaust this soil, and so this plant is going to have a good head start. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember, if you have a vision, add some passion, and I'll see you in the next one.